Hello, welcome to another edition of DBE TV News. We come to you every week on the Department of Basic Education's YouTube channel. I am Tshegohajo Moagi. In our top stories, the Social Protection, Community and Human Development Cluster brief on developments in the various departments. Motheo Education District in the Free State wins the National School Nutrition Program Award. The Education Labour Relations Council launches the Labour Management Partnership. And the Limpopo Education Department showcases progress made in the eradication of pit latrines in schools. The Social Protection, Community and Human Development Cluster briefed the media on Sunday the 26th of February on progress made in the various departments. This includes health, basic education, social development, housing and others. The cluster, co-hosted by Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga and Health Minister Dr. Joe Phaahla, highlighted plans in place following the State of the Nation address by President Cyril Ramaphosa earlier in February. The Department of Health, working together with sister departments and other stakeholders, have embarked on a nationwide child immunization campaign against measles, HPV, and other vaccine-preventable diseases. Minister Dr. Joe Phaahla says it is pleasing that there has been no resistance from parents in signing the consent forms.
We run those annually, and there's not been any resistance. So the resistance started when we were dealing with the COVID, because these ones are well established. The protection against illness it's well established over many years. So that's why even now, when we have isolated outbreaks of measles, it's largely because of the fact that during the lockdowns and the various restrictions of the high levels of COVID, parents missed taking their children to vaccination because of all those circumstances. But also in some cases, even our health facilities were too much focused on screening and also providing support and treatment for people who were affected by COVID. So we're catching up on that. That's why you will see that it's isolated cases, starting in Limpopo, going to Mpumalanga, Northwest, and now it's moved even further west coast into Cape Town. But again, still small numbers, but we have very good cooperation from parents and the education sector.
And this was reiterated by Minister Angie Motshekga.
I was quite surprised during COVID when we experienced resistance in signing consent forms, because we've never had that difficulty before. And I used to go to raise even with teachers to say, but by law, you can't have an unvaccinated child in the schools. Where we had outbreaks, half the time it were children were not South African children who had not been vaccinated through our health system. Where we would have an outbreak, we would, without doubt, even when I was MEC, I knew it would be a child, not a child born within the South African health system. So we've never had resistance and any difficulties. If parents don't sign, it's because of negligence. If forms are misplaced, then we have to follow up, but not that there will be resistance. So even the measles vaccination, half the time the problems were just difficulties of getting forms back. But when we follow up, and sometimes health workers even visit families, will get the forms, those consent forms. It's just that by law we can't vaccinate unless we have a consent form in our hands. But there's not been any resistance from my experience.
Minister Motshekga went on to highlight the work being done in the basic education sector to strengthen the foundation of learning from early years.
The Department of Basic Education is focusing on strengthening legislation on early childhood development, an intersectoral task team comprising of the Department of Social Development, COCTA, SALGA, and ECD have worked together to redraft the Children's Amendment Bill of 2020-23. And indeed, from the reports that we've been getting, we are confronted with the challenges of increasing access into ECD, but also ensuring that there's quality of outputs.
Another issue that has been a focus for the department is that of early grade reading. The department says progress is being made to ensure learners are able to not just read, but read with understanding by the age of 10.
We have embarked on a number of programs. We have developed the reading framework, which we work on it with different partners. We have monitoring tools to assist us to also assess where we're making progress and where we're experiencing difficulties. So to strengthen the quality of support available to teachers, the department has been providing training to subject advisors for early grade reading. We also are working on mobilizing parents to join us in the Read to Lead campaign.
The ministers also spoke to the importance of social grants within the country.
We want to report that 60% of government's budget is spent on social wage, combating poverty and hunger. Not only on grants, but the 60% of the budget, part of it in education, part of it in health, and part of it in social development. So despite the budget constraints, the social development portfolio has been able to pay social grants to more than 18 million South Africans. And these grants are paid directly into people's pockets in the form of social support grant, care dependency grant, foster care grant, old age grant, and disability grant. The country has also made serious advances to break the historical barriers of access to income by introducing what we call the Special COVID-19 Social Relief of Distress Grant. In the education front, for instance, on the social grants, the department, on the education front, the statistics that were released by Education Department show an increase of 39,744 social grant beneficiary learners who have passed matric with very great results.
The Basic Education Portfolio Committee, together with officials from the Department of Basic Education, have embarked on public hearings on the Basic Education Laws Amendment Bill across all 9 provinces. The hearings began on the 24th of February and will end in July of this year. The Vhembe, Mopani and Capricorn districts in the Limpopo province were visited from the 24th to the 26th of February. This will be followed by visits to the Free State, the Northwest, Mpumalanga, KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng provinces until the end of the first term in April of 2023. The aim of the hearings is to enhance public involvement to impact positively to the mandate of democracy to inform, consult, involve and provide feedback to South Africans on the way forward in respect of the bill. When we return, we are in the Western Cape for the launch of the Labour Management Partnership.
Research is showing that NSFAS supporting students on average are performing better than non-NSFAS supported students, which is also something that is very important because it says this almost complete wraparound program by government of NSFAS students is become very important. Also, the change from NSFAS being a loan to being a bursary has also made a very big difference because it has now even opened access to students, even in those institutions that were unaffordable in the earlier phase of NSFAS. Universities that have been more expensive, like University of Cape Town, Stellenbosch, Wits University, Pretoria, there's been a huge increase of the numbers of black students from poor families directly as a result of NSFAS and the kinds of difference that it has actually made.
Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga says public education has been a crucial vehicle for achieving the South African dream. She was speaking during the launch of the Labour Management Partnership facilitated by the Education Labour Relations Council in Cape Town. The launch was attended by teacher unions, heads of department, among others. The program, collaboration between the Department of Basic Education, Labour Management, Partnership and School-Level Educator Collaboration, was officially adopted by the Council in 2022. According to the ELRC, Labour Management Partnerships serve as a catalyst for educator collaboration as it creates a positive climate and promotes better communication and information sharing. Minister Motshekga added that teachers are at the center of achieving the South African dream.
It is widely acknowledged that public education has been a crucial vehicle for achieving the South African dream. And we believe that you can only achieve it through education. And that's why for us it's very central. And in this regard, we consider education as a blueprint for our dream. Then our nation's teachers are therefore the architects of this dream. Because we believe it's education that is going to make us realize the dream, and the people who can write that dream are teachers. And hence they remain extremely, extremely important for us as the country. So to sustain the greatness of South African nation, we have to make sure that we look after our teachers, we do all we possibly can, because the dream will never happen without education, never. Because it was also shattered through education. You can see the remnants of what apartheid did to our societies in terms of the education system.
She added that education has a big role to play in the country.
So we do believe that we must focus on building a solid foundation for the future of our country by prioritizing a comprehensive education beyond just academic success. We believe that today the future of our nation hangs in the balance of the state in financing the future of our country by prioritizing a comprehensive education beyond just academic success. We believe that today the future of our nation hangs in the balance of the state in financing under very constrained finances, but continue to prioritize education. And we believe that through education, it's only education that has the potential of reversing the negative impacts of what we've inherited as a country. We can still feel the brunt thereof. So the timing of the partnership talks with our counterparts relating to labor relations is timely because it provides an opportunity to improve on basic education. We do believe, as I say, that the harmonization of the environment really goes a long way.
In his address, NAPTOSA's Basil Manuel said the launch must look at the broader context of the sector to ensure everyone works together.
And in the context that we are operating in, we have done very well in terms of a partnership. And it has to do with the quality of some of the people that we have around. We haven't simply just bumbled into fighting and arguing and disagreeing, etc. We have a history of labor and management in a partnership. And Minister Motshekga, I will acknowledge you, having been around for a long time, and a number of other people who have actively worked at this. People like the teacher unions. And so for us, this is not a new beginning. However, it's a reaffirmation that this road needs to be a little more formalized, and that is what we celebrated. But taking it a little further, to ensure that everybody is at the same place. We sometimes do have, and I greet the HODs very nicely before I say, we sometimes have this disjuncture between what happens at one level and what happens at another level. And that is what we want to attend to. So when we celebrate the collaboration, when we welcome the partnership, we are welcoming a phase that says, let's look at it in its absolute broader context, even for union membership.
Free State Province has won the Best District during the National School Nutrition Program Awards. The awards, hosted by the Basic Education Department in partnership with the Tiger Brands Foundation, took place to honor schools and districts that continue to demonstrate the promotion of nutrition and physical education in schools. The NSNP is a government intervention program that intends to address barriers to learning associated with hunger and malnutrition by providing nutritious meals to learners on all school days. The program also aims to contribute towards improving the health and nutritional status of school learners in South Africa. The Mothea District's Director, December Moloi, said it was pleasing that the team they have has yielded these positive results.
We're very excited because that is the recognition of the hard work of Team Mothea. I call Team Mothea Team Fantastic, Team Fabulous, and then the team of women cooperatives, food handlers, the SGBs, our teachers, and then everyone, all the officials, the monitors, who made sure that and then every food that is intended for our learners and then is served on time every time, who made sure that every cent that is budgeted for this program and then is well spent. We also want to acknowledge the leadership we got from our province, and then in particular our Honorable MEC for Education, Dr. Tate Makwe, our HOD, Advocate Malakwane, and their team at Provincial for guidance and leadership.
He went on to speak about the importance of the NSNP.
To us, compliance is very, very important. Quality is very important. We understand that we cannot perform at this level if we are not compliant and then with all the guidelines which are supporting the teaching and learning. This NSNP program is very key because it makes sure that, by the time our learners go into class to receive the appropriate teaching and learning, knowledge, attitudes and attributes, and then at least they have eaten. And then this meal at times to some of the families, to some of the learners, is the only meal. Therefore, that is why we really make sure that it is of the highest quality, which is being provided every day on time. We're very excited. We're going to make sure that even this year, we're going to strengthen, we're going to fortify, and then we need to, we're going to close all the gaps so that again, we should be an exemplary district when it comes to the provision of an NSNP.
Coming up next, we are in the Limpopo province as the Education Department works to improve sanitation at schools.
Now that you've received your 2022 matric results, it's time to continue with your education plans. If you passed, congratulations. However, if you're not satisfied with your results, there's always a second chance to write your matric. Go to your nearest education district office to register or log in to e-services.gov.za.
The Western Cape Education Department has once again pleaded with the minibus taxi industry to allow learner transport to operate in the province, as this is in the best interest of learners. Earlier in the week, 1,800 learners who travel with the contracted transport missed school after the Congress of Democratic Taxi Associations intimidated, threatened and prevented learner transport from operating. This despite an undertaking that was taken